It's a mental lifestyle. What is it? It is a person who has a high interest in life. When you have a high interest in life, you realize you're just a guest on this planet and you go, wow, everything is just as it's supposed to be. I always say that. Everything is exactly like it's supposed to be. When you tell yourself that and you get in the mental lifestyle of doing that, ooh, you'll transform your life in magic fashion. Hey, Kathie Owen here. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about transforming your life in magic fashion. My name is Kathie Owen, certified fitness trainer and life coach since 2002, and a survivor of complex post-traumatic stress disorder and narcissistic abuse. And today I teach others how to transform their lives in magic fashion. So today we're going to talk about a tragic situation. I live in Texas, near Houston, Texas, and I've grown up here all my life. And this was one of the most tragic events that I've seen happen. We do not freeze down here. My boyfriend Eddie is a plumber, and he told me before the storm even hit that our pipes are not designed to handle freeze that lasts more than 2 hours, maybe 12 hours at the most. And so there were precautions that people needed to take, but there were things that just happened. And today I'm going to talk to you about revelations that I learned through this. I've been through hurricanes, very, very similar situation, except for the fact that it was cold. I just lived through one of the most scary events that could happen. And here are today lessons I learned, 4 lessons I learned, as well as solutions to dealing with survival and just overcoming post-traumatic stress. Yes, the event was horrible. It was frightening. And however, as a survivor of complex post-traumatic stress disorder is different from just plain post-traumatic stress disorder, because complex goes through years of dealing with survival type instances, especially when it comes to just abuse in general. So kind of the two are similar. And I also noticed that a lot of things around here are experiencing post-traumatic stress. And today we're going to talk about solutions, how I got through it because of the things that I have learned and the things that I teach as well. So let's get right to it. First thing, when you're going through a situation like that, or your friends or your family have experienced traumatic situations, you can't confront them with positivity right away. Why? Because they are going through the 5 stages of grief, and I will list them right here for you so you can understand the 5 stages of grief. Whenever somebody is going through the 5 stages of grief, you cannot come towards them with a positive solution because they do not see it until they are in acceptance. Acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. Always remember that, because otherwise they're going to be reactive to you. Number 2 thing that I learned through all of this was post-traumatic stress is something we all experience when going through a traumatic survival experience. Even our plants, which are living creatures, and the animals are having post-traumatic stress. The plants are dead. Texas plants in my life, I've never seen them look like. And I don't know if they'll come back, but it was hard on them. Just like any person that experienced this. I have friends who lost everything in their house, everything, because their pipes burst. Eddie, my boyfriend, is a plumber, and before all of this started happening, he said, and he's been a plumber for many years, and I think Houston has only experienced this one time back in the late 80s, and the freeze did not last for 3 days. It only lasted maybe 12, 18 hours. And we experienced a 3-day freeze in Texas in my entire life. I've lived here all my life. This has never happened. And the pipes here are not built to handle the freeze. Obviously, our electricity system is not built to handle this type of cold weather. Usually this time of year it's 60, 70 degrees outside. We even haven't had a deep freeze in several years. I would say 8 years, at least 8 years. I mean, really, we haven't even got below freezing for more than 1 hour in at least 8 years. I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm just saying. The post traumatic stress that comes from all of this is happening to everybody. It started before the storm even got here. I could see how people were experiencing, and because of my spiritual awakening process, I picked up on people's energy as the storm progressed. You pick up on people becoming very reactive and very fearful. This is not very good. That's not good at all. However, to stay calm in the middle of it is extremely important. Like I always teach, don't panic or you're going to go into that reactive phase. The third thing I learned from all of this, and wow, was this very profound. You know, in reality transurfing, they teach we're just guests on this planet. And actually, all spiritual teachings teach us that we are just guests here. We are not entitled to anything, not one thing. And our century that we live in, we are so privileged to have electricity, to have all of these wonderful, wonderful amenities. But we're just guests on this planet. And when you realize that, you start to look at things differently. And I realized this a long time ago as I was becoming awakened, anyways. And I already knew this, but as I was sitting in my home without power, Eddie had gone to work. I didn't have cell service. I didn't know if he got there. I could have gone to the dark side and panicked like so many people were doing. But eventually, when you go through all that panic and you're stuck in that little situation, you have to come to some kind of realization. This is survival. This is survival, and you have to find a way just to get through it. And that's what it had to happen. Eckhart Tolle talks about this in A New Earth, that we go through these, so that when people start to awaken, they go through really, really traumatic experiences where they lose every single thing. And that resistance that comes into play is very not helpful at all. So, how do we overcome that resistance? Well, I'm going to have solutions for you in a minute. The fourth thing that I learned in all of this was your thought habits are so important to understand. They are so profound that I found myself thinking, oh my God, what if I can't get Eddie? What if something happens? What if our pipes break when the freeze is over? What if? And those what ifs didn't happen. But I caught myself in the middle of the thought going, oh, that's not a helpful thought. Then I rewrote that with the printing shears of revision, or however you want to think that. You rewrite that low quality thought to come up with something more powerful. It's extremely important. Let's talk about solutions to survival that happens in the middle of it. The first solution I want to talk about is becoming comfortable being uncomfortable in any regular situation. The more you strengthen this muscle, the better off you'll be when you do encounter a survival type situation. And as a personal trainer, certified since 2002, I have to take CPR every couple of years. So I had this one instructor that taught this very powerful lesson in CPR, which I apply to across the board all the time. She said, you know, what she does, and I think EMS is trained to do this, is they picture a situation that could happen. You're at the gym and there's an elderly person standing at the membership desk and all of a sudden they collapse. What are you going to do? What are your steps going to be? And if you plan those ahead of the situation, you already know what to do. And this is what I teach in general. I teach this. I teach you to become aware of your thought habits when you're comfortable, when you're sitting there all chill and happy and relaxed. And when you become aware of those thought habits, oh boy, is it powerful. As I said before, resistance comes into play. It's only natural. We are human. You come into resistance, and the key to resistance is letting go. Let go. It is what it is. I love that statement. It helps a whole lot, and it helps you put things in perspective, and it helps you go into acceptance. Remember the 5 stages of grief? You want to get to acceptance? That's what you do. You come to realize it is what it is, and then you can build off of that. It just becomes a whole lot more powerful. You know the story about the monk? It's called Is That So? I did a video on that. And the monk was confronted with all of these challenging situations that could totally disrupt his life. And he would just respond with, Is that so? And he would go with the flow, and he would understand that this was just life. And so many times people go into entitlement and expect things to be the way they want them to be. But to get into non-resistance, you just go and accept and let go. Let go of your need to be reactive. You know, my mom was telling me a story in San Antonio that people were getting so pissed off they didn't have water for a week. I get it, it sucks. But remember, we're just guests here on this planet. But here's what happened. These people got so reactive and so pissed off. They got so much anger that they were throwing rocks at workers. They were throwing rocks at people. Another thing that happened that I noticed is the news was just going on and on and on with all these negative words and negative scenes. I mean, today I was in the gym and I was watching on the television. They were talking about the Texas freeze on Fox News, and they were talking about it like it's still happening. We're thawed out now. And my parents have water now. They just got it back on. But we are strong. You're resilient, more resilient than you know. But reactivity is not in power. Remember the levels of consciousness. It is in force. When you are reactive, you're forcing things to be the way they're not right now. You let go and accept the moment, and you go with the flow. I always preach this. Mental diet, mental diet, mental diet. If you start it now while you're in comfort zone, you're gonna be better when in survival mode. A mental diet, all it is you become aware of your thought habits. You don't shame yourself for thinking an ugly thought, but you don't stay on that ugly thought. You let it go. For example, when we were without power, even before this happened, I told Eddie, I don't know if I can live without power in the cold. I mean, and it's even worse in the heat. As a person who's lived through hurricanes and gone for several days without electricity in Texas in 100-degree heat, it is miserable. The cold, honestly, it wasn't so bad. If you put all your clothes on and layered it all up and get under the covers, I was actually hot. And my house was 42 degrees. And I learned so much throughout the whole process that, of course, we're always learning. We're always learning. And that's what I'm teaching you. We're both the student and the teacher simultaneously. So what I'm teaching you, I learned through this process, but I already knew this. The mental diet will help you keep your mind where it's supposed to be. Keep you to stop mind screwing yourself into a total disaster. into total victimhood. You know, I always talk about that, the victim victimizer. You do that in your mind and it goes on and on and on. You know, the video, I talk about it where to get out of victim mentality, you got to get into victor mentality. Put a link right here to that video. And last but certainly not least in the solutions, you find flow. If you're following me on Instagram or you check out my blog, I'm going to have posts all week long on flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Yeah, his name is hard to pronounce. I wish it was Mihai Cheek. It would be so much easier. I found out that I'm already in flow. I know how to easily get into flow because of my morning routine, because of the way I already live my life in a regular daily basis, and because of the skills that I have learned and that I teach. But flow is just a state of mind. And I easily got back into that state of mind by finding gratitude, by letting go of resistance, by understanding that that's more proactive than reactive. It helps so much when you're in flow because you're not putting labels on things. You're not saying, this is the way it has to be. He's so cute. You're not saying this is the way it has to be, and you're also saying, I'm just a guest here on this planet. What gifts do I have right now? What gifts do I have? I'm breathing. I'm fine. Things are going to be fine. It's not always going to be this way. We do have luxuries and amenities that we lose gratitude for until they're gone. Where's your gratitude? About flow, there's one statement I want to make about flow. But these three things I realized at the meat of all of this, that I was in flow. And I have trained myself and others to come across into flow and into an autotelic personality. You just live that way. It's a mental lifestyle. What is it? It is a person who has a high interest in life. When you have a high interest in life, you realize you're just a guest on this planet and you go, wow, everything is just as it's supposed to be. I always say that. Everything is exactly like it's supposed to be. And when you tell yourself that and you get in the mental lifestyle of doing that, ooh, you transform your life in magic fashion. But here's two other things that go along with autotelic personality. You become persistent. You know, Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich has a whole chapter on persistence. When you are persistent, you don't give up. You don't get reactive. You realize that you're just hanging in there. You have faith and you trust the process. Oh, I teach that all the time. You just trust the process. And the last thing is low self-centeredness. It's not all about you. It's not all about you. I'm going to talk about these three things in an upcoming video because this was the meat of what I learned in my journey during this freeze. Remember, they are high interest in life, persistent, and low self-centeredness. Those three things will transform your life in magic fashion. That's my video for today. I hope you liked it. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did and leave a comment in the comment below. Check the links in the description below because there's lots of goodies in there. And until next time, I'll see you next time. Peace out and namaste.